Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Matias Sports Podcast, episode 18. I have another wonderful guest with me. I have Reed Becker of Boston Sports Journal, fan-sided journalist. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Ken. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I appreciate you joining my podcast, and we connected on Twitter, so I really appreciate it. So, like we just talked about, start off, how you got into the journalism broadcasting side and talk about your experience and, what made you interested in being a journalist slash broadcaster, if you'd like to call it.
Yeah, so I've always been into the sports broadcast journalism industry ever since I was at least, I would say, 12 years old. Growing up, I played rec basketball, little league, and baseball, all that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
but quickly realized, that athletically wasn't going to take it very far. But I always still wanted to stay in sports. So the next best thing I thought that could get me there would be working in sports on the broadcast, journalism industry side of it. There's a bunch of broadcasters and people I've looked up to since when I was young. It's interesting because a bunch of kids and people like that will say that they're always interested in meeting players, the Aaron Judges, the Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
the Tom Brady's. Well, for me, it was the broadcasters. It was the Ian Eagles, the Al Michaels, the Marv Alberts, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Um, so just from a young age, that got me into it. I remember my my top broadcasters that I always loved listening to. On top of the Marv Alberts, the Kevin Harlans, the Al Michaels, the Doc Emmerichs. For my childhood, it was being in the New York sports area. It would be NFL. I would still say Ian Eagle, just because of his ability to bring excitement and knowledge and able to bring in the perfect nugget of, oh, we spoke to Bill Belichick and he told us this exact thing. Um, I also think that Joe Buck gets a little bit unfair criticism. I think his ability to um, breathe on the broadcast, let it air out a little bit at the perfect moments, I think gets a little unnoticed sometimes. And I think he's dearly missed on the World Series right now.
For
But
sure. I agree with you.
But going back to my list, so definitely Ian Eagle. And Ian was also big for me in basketball too.
Hmm.
With the Nets and his catchphrases, to me it was just no match in my childhood for him. Then in baseball, it's Michael Kay with
Legend.
the Yankees, all the classic calls he's had. He's like a baseball almanac with the history stories he's able to tell. Um, and then in hockey, to me, it's Sam Rosen with the Rangers. Hockey Hall of Famer just announced his retirement after this season. His excitement level, his passion, it comes through, and his ability though to do it without coming off as a homer, in my opinion, to report straight of what's on the ice as objectively as he can. But going off of that, so I knew that I wanted to work in sports broadcasting, the industry itself. I then went to Iron Eagle, had done a sports broadcasting camp with Bruce Beck, which they did for a long time at the Yogi Berra Museum. And I did that for 2 years, um, which was just, great experience, obviously learning from two of the giants in the industry, listening to them have Kenny Albert speak and all kinds of guys, Frank Isola, all kinds. Um, Went to multiple broadcasting camps. And then my fast forward to high school. So I'm writing for our high school student newspaper. My freshman year, I get an email out of the blue from our sports editor and basically said, hey, I really like your writing. Would you like to cover a college basketball game?
Wow. In high school, that's impressive for sure. That's awesome.
So he got me in touch with Seton Hall, and I covered a Seton Hall basketball game all 4 years of my time in high school, um, which obviously was a great experience and great way to build networking and all that. Um, the summer going into my senior year of high school, I did a sports broadcasting pre-college camp up at Dean College, uh, run by John Rook, known as the Patriots PA announcer at Gillette
Mm-hmm.
Stadium, Province Basketball Radio. I did his camp. Again, great experience out of that. It felt like every night we were out and about at an event, calling a New England Revolution game. There was a Pan Am basketball scrimmage going on at Providence College that we did play-by-play for. We did summer league game in baseball. We had speakers of Bob Sochi and so on and so forth. Um, then, well, actually, I will say also at when we were in Providence, that's when I actually met, because he had some speakers come in. I met John Fanta there
Mm-hmm.
because at that point he was doing a play-by-play for that, and we were able to build a
He
connection
works for
there.
Fox, right?
Now he's with Fox
Yeah.
Sports, right? And he's kind of quickly been building his career up now, doing play-by-play as well as like the journalist side as well, multimedia you could call it. Um, so just from a young age, I've been able to just meet a bunch of broadcasters. I mean, even like I remember there were times I met Michael Kay at Yankee Stadium. I met him a couple times. Very nice. Sam Rosen, I've been fortunate enough to meet at MSG. And he always would meet me down by the ice after the game. I remember there was one time I was able to go up into the booth with him in intermission, talk to him there. One time he let me sit in on some of his play-by-play, which from right there you could tell again just how passionate he was, because and when I was there, it happened to be the Rangers scored, and his hands went up faster than you could count to three. And but it just goes back to how much of a professional he is. So then I picked Dean College because I wanted a small kind of school, but
Mm-hmm.
it was still had a great sports broadcasting program run by a big name in the industry up in New England, currently still in the industry, thought it had great opportunities. And then, so at Dean, I was on the broadcast team. We were doing play-by-play for our school athletics, sideline, public address announcing, producing. And then I also, though, focused on, which is where I found my, I think, true passion in the journalism writing side at our campus newspaper again, where I started out covering the games, doing game stories, doing player feature articles, doing season preview articles for the teams. And then I did such a good job there that I was chosen to be promoted as the first ever sports editor of our campus newspaper.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. And where we, assigning articles, running the staff,
Mm-hmm.
all that. And based off of that, I was able to cover the Big East basketball tournament for the past 2 years at Madison Square Garden, which obviously was a blast and great experience again, building connections, meeting the likes of Gus Johnson, Bill Raftery, and so on and so forth, Tim Brando. But based off my campus newspaper, I was able to bring that to Madison Square Garden, covering the Big East. And on top of that, I was able to intern the past 2 summers as well at the Cape Cod Baseball League. Being that Dean College requires an internship, I interned at Cape Cod as a broadcast intern, interviewing players and coaches before and after games every day. I was at the ballpark every day of the season. And that teaches you again, networking, building relationships
Mm-hmm.
in the league, the setting stuff up of the interviews in advance, because each team has different policies, being respectful of others' times, obviously, and the importance of preparation. One saying I always go by is like, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So that's just been something I took away a lot of from my experience in Cape Cod. And then after Cape Cod, um, this past October, I had been interning at the Boston Sports Journal with Greg Bedard,
Mm-hmm.
I covered every game with the Boston Bruins, doing pregame write-ups, previews, in-game commentary in the comments for the subscribers. And then after the game, doing a quick post-game write-up with analysis. I continued that now here in the summer with the Boston Red Sox. And then the last thing I'll talk about here too is at Dean College, being in the Boston area, we had an opportunity this past March with March Madness, the East Regional being at TD Garden. I was able to help out and work behind the scenes there, assisting the media, and making sure all the press conferences went off smoothly. And again, meeting giants in the industry like a Kevin Harlan, Stan Van Gundy. It was a great opportunity, and I wouldn't trade anything for my experience at Dean.
That's amazing. Like that's a lot of stuff that you've done at a young age. I mean, not
Mhm.
many people could probably say like they've done that exact amount of stuff and you're still what, a sophomore, junior at Dean or
So I graduated
oh,
just this past May.
congratulations. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
You did graduate. I'm a little behind. But I mean, are you originally from the New York area? Because from what you were talking about, I'm like he's got to be from New York, New Jersey.
Yes, originally from New Jersey, then went to school up in Massachusetts.
Cool. So you're just trying to find something obviously regionalized like in New York, New Jersey, kind of maybe like with the Rangers or even the Knicks or anything or the Nets.
I mean, I think it's everyone's dream to be
Hmm.
local, right? Or whatever. I mean, to me, it's like if you can get an in somewhere and if you have to move, then so be it. So it's kind of just at this point, you're trying to just get an in anywhere you can.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know a lot of people. I mean, just talking to Noah Eagle yesterday, he had to move all the way to LA. I mean,
Right.
that was amazing. Like him moving from New York all the way cross country to California just to do like right out of Syracuse, just do the Clippers job on the radio and meet Corey Maggette. I was like, wow.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
kudos to him and look how successful he's become. Now he's with NBC and doing college football and yada yada yada. But no, I mean it's great to see like young upcoming kids in the industry for sure. Dean is a great college for that. John does a good job with you guys for sure. Um, Reflecting on what you just talked about for the past maybe 10, 15 minutes, what's been basically your highlight of your early career from covering events in person or to, the gig, I should say, or anything like that.
My favorite experience, or just like of the what I've interned at, or just like a specific moment.
It don't matter. Both. It don't matter. I mean,
I
feel free
mean,
to share.
I would say that the the biggest one so far would have to be, I think, interning at the Cape Cod Baseball League. I mean, the
Hmm.
most prestigious summer league in the country. You have top Major League Baseball prospects playing there every night. There's MLB scouts there every night.
Hmm.
It's a extremely prestigious internship. I would say just as hard, if not harder, to get in as an intern as it is for a player. Um, and being able to get in and work there for the past 2 summers is something that was a highlight for sure. I mean, we were at games, like I said, every night, but we also um, had opportunities with Nesson.
Hmm.
We did sideline hits on Nesson. Um, we covered the every year now, they for the past few years they've had tryout day at Fenway Park for the players. And I've gone up to Fenway and have done interviews with the players at Fenway on the field, in the lower bowl, and also interviewing Peter Gammons. He's
A
very
legend for sure.
present in Cape Cod every year.
Yep.
He'll talk to you for hours. He very knowledgeable, obviously, on the game and the history. He's always very nice. I remember something that I took away from him when I spoke to him was he said, in terms of advice for whatever for young and up and coming, he said, every time I go to the ballpark, I always try to learn something new that someone else that they might not know. Um, And then some other interviews, I would just say that from my experience in Cape Cod, that definitely I think are memorable would have to be interviewing Jared Saltalamacchia a couple times. He's the
With the
assistant coach
Bourne
for the Bourne
Braves.
Braves.
Yep.
Um, Interviewing Sean Casey last summer because his son Jake Casey played in Orleans.
Mm.
Um, And then that would probably be my top. And then actually, since it was the 100th season last year, they had this dinner ceremony where they brought in Ron Darling. And I was able to interview Ron Darling from talking about Cape Cod and baseball and the Mets and his journey as well. So those would have to be my top favorite interviews so far, especially in Cape Cod. Um, it's a great experience and it teaches you a lot about the industry from an early start.
Staying on the Cape Cod League, how'd you enjoy being here down, 2 summers in a row between 2023 and 2024? It is pretty nice down here for sure.
2022, 2023, I was past,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, okay, not
you're
the
good.
recent one. All
But
right, my bad, my bad.
no, you're good. But no, it's great. I mean, it's baseball and beaches. It's summer on the Cape. It's baseball. I loved my time on Cape Cod, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
hmm And then you guys were able to, because obviously I was part of it last year. I mean, I wasn't an intern or anything, but like I told you, I was doing stuff for cable access for the Gatemen during the 2023 season. Unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs. But were you able to stay like with a host family too? Like the interns, that's usually how it works too.
Yeah, so no.
No,
I
okay.
know obviously the players will get host families and stuff like that. The interns do not. I believe the only teams that do for interns, I think, are Wareham and
hmm
Katuitt.
Yep.
But otherwise, yeah, it's not like that. I mean, I roomed with, I remember, other interns from teams for the past 2 summers. Um, so that's kind of how it works.
Oh yeah. Did you guys stay like a hotel if you don't mind me asking,
No,
or
yeah,
no?
I mean, we worked first summer it was like a Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And then the second summer we found something through a Furnished Finder.
Oh, that's cool. At least, it wasn't a hotel. It was actually like a house you guys can all rent and stuff like that.
Right.
But no, yeah, the Cape Cod League, it amazes me. The little I seen it this year, obviously I didn't go to a game in person, but the little I seen it on YouTube, it's like I talked to Ethan and Kyle from Wareham. I mean, I had them on the podcast. I don't know if you've seen that a few episodes ago, but they enjoyed their time here. They're probably a one and done, unfortunately, but they were nice to hear on the broadcast and they did a phenomenal job. Wareham obviously got bounced in the first round, but yeah, no, the Cape Cod League's great. I'm glad I was a part of it for at least a season. Definitely recommend to any young up and coming broadcasters, I should say, or journalists, go check it out. Go meet with the scouts. I've met with the scouts too. Um, Stand on the baseball topic. Is that more your thing? Is that like your top sport, or like basically you like all of them?
Yeah, I would say my top, I mean, the four major are definitely my kind. I would say growing up, I was big with basketball, and then
hmm
after that, I would probably say baseball. But I mean, obviously, having worked in baseball the past 2 summers, it's a lot of fun. It's great experience. And the other thing I'll say too about the Cape Cod League is all the players are great. I mean, in terms of
hmm
like interviewing them and talking to them, like they're great to get to know. It's very kind of laid back in that sense, I would say too.
It's a big family atmosphere. From what I
Mhm.
seen a season ago, I was like, wow, you might have a decent crowd some nights, better than
I mean,
others.
I think they pretty much like if I think last year game 3 in Orleans of the championship, they like sold that place out.
Yeah, because Bourne was looking to repeat, and they did. I
Right,
mean, they were looking for a three-peat this year, but then
right.
Harwich came out of nowhere,
But the
apparently.
fact that but besides the storyline, the fact that a summer collegiate baseball league is drawing that many people. And the other thing I'll say is
It's free too.
right,
Yeah.
right. But the other thing I'll say too is that I mean, think of it as just like, because what they are is they're just regular residential towns. And
hmm
the fact that they bring in, so players come in from all over the country, all over the world, and these fans and host families that basically make it as like their children. Like it's like you go to a game and you would think that they've seen them play since they were like 5 years old. And so the way that they're able to just bring them in to their community and make them kind of one of their own is something pretty special that you don't usually otherwise see.
Yeah, it's usually, I mean, the most they might stay is what, a month, or if they're gonna get drafted, they'll leave for
Right.
the draft,
Or
yada yada.
sometimes the colleges can shut them down for innings purposes or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, the most some kids stick it out the 2 months, from middle of June to early August. Obviously, it just happened a couple of weeks ago. But no, for the most part, I mean, the players seem like they're great. Some of them probably got a big ego that I kind of seen kind of being on the sidelines of the first base side. But I mean, obviously, you're in a highly competitive collegiate league and you're getting scouted pretty much every day up until the draft or so. And then the scouts may come back here and there in the summer. But I mean, no, like you said, being an intern there, that must have been pretty cool seeing the firsthand experience. And then another person I want to bring up that you brought up to me yesterday was Braden. He's a wonderful kid. Talk about your experience, talking to him and working with them with the Cape Cod League.
Yeah, I mean, Braden is, like you said, one of a great guy on Cape Cod. I mean,
Hmm.
interned for Wareham that summer in 2022. I'm sorry, 23
Yep.
last summer. And then this summer, I went back. He went to broadcast with Falmouth.
Yep,
Uh,
correct.
but no, he's a great guy, down to earth, um, very helpful for regarding needs or questions regarding the team. I mean, yeah, I always enjoyed having conversations with him and seeing him at the ballpark.
I've never seen a kid do like everything at his age too. Like he can basically produce, control, broadcast, play by play. Like it's just kind of blown my mind.
Well, and
Like,
the fact that he also started in Cape Cod before
hmm
he got into college, started his freshman year.
that's pretty rare.
Also,
I feel like it's usually
right.
what your freshman, sophomore year, you usually like intern with the league.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely, usually it's in college, I would say. I mean, I don't know if it's freshman year, but
Hmm.
sophomore, junior year, something like that along the line. That's at least, I did it going into junior and then senior year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't say anything. I'm running out of words to say, about the Cape Cod League because it's so great. It's nice seeing
And
everybody happy.
the other thing too is, I
But
mean, they have the streak too of the amount of first overall picks they've had in, I mean, just recently they've had between Paul Skeens and then just this year they had Travis Bazzana,
hmm
who, I mean, seeing him play in person
he
is
was
was
Orleans? No.
special. Sorry,
Was he Orleans? No, I forget who he was with
Falmouth.
Falmouth last year. That's who it was. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think Braden didn't mention that to me. But yeah, between Skeens and Travis this year, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Back-to-back years. I don't know who was in 2022. I mean, I know the two more recent guys, but no, it's the young upcoming talent. It's crazy. Aaron Judge played there. Marcus Stroman, like guys that I watch on TV, like maybe not religiously, but guys I've just seen on TV, and it's like, wow, I can't believe they started in the Cape. I mean, um,
Thurman Munson. Oh, yep.
oh yeah, it goes back. I think Jason Varitek for the Red Sox might have
Hmm.
played there way back. I mean, I'm just trying to have names come to my head. I think CC Sabathia was spotted this past summer in the Cape with his kid.
Yeah, I believe his son had played for Brewster this summer. Yeah, he was. That's what I mean too. I mean, you'll get
Athletes, former
players like
athletes.
former players or stuff like that that will just show up because if they have their sons that are playing in it or just to show up. I remember I saw a post this summer. Adam Pellerin, the Nesson host,
Oh, yep.
had shown up for an Orleans game. I mean, so you never know who you'll see in Cape Cod.
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely attracts. I mean Dan Roach from WBZ, the local Boston station, he's big into it. Christopher Price that covers the Patriots that I sometimes speak to. He's big into the Cape Cod League too. If he has some time, before camp and stuff like that, he'll come down, see a game, stuff like that. But yeah, just it blows my mind. It really does. And I don't know how much interactions you've had with the scouts the past couple of seasons, but if you want to elaborate, talking about the scouts and stuff like that and your experience speaking of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see them every day. I saw them every day there at the ballparks, obviously, and the one I probably got to get to know the most would probably be Tom Burns, the from the Blue Jays. He was
Older gentleman, right?
yeah, he was
Yeah, I
always
think I might have spoke to him too.
yeah, he was always great with his time, always
Hmm.
nice, always just willing to talk about baseball. and just what he sees. And it was definitely um, something I was able to always use and talk to about. Um, yeah, he was always great.
I give those guys a lot of credit because they're on the road a lot. They're away from their wives, husband, even women probably scout too. So it's like it's a lot of
Mhm.
time on the road, a lot of effort put in just to scout, from high school to college to whatever else. I mean, to see these guys grow through the systems as well. But yeah, I just want to appreciate you coming on. Obviously we still got some time too, so we can chit chat about more. How big are you into the NFL? Switching gears here, honestly. You're a big football guy?
Yeah, I'm always watching the NFL. I mean, the NFL is like it's everything in obviously this country. But yes, I'm always
Yeah.
following the NFL. I mean, between red zone, between the
Oh
local
yeah.
teams, the storylines. I mean, used to play fantasy, not so much anymore, but
Are you more of a Giants or a Jets fan, being from New
Giants.
York? Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for beating us the imperfect season and 2012. Still hurts my feelings all those years later being a
You
Buffalo.
have more trophies to make up for.
Yeah, but we've been on the downward swing the past 4 years, so it's just been 4 years of hell, and we've been spoiled the previous 20 or 19 years. But leading into the Giants, what's your expectations with Coach Dayball, Daniel Jones, and the boys? And obviously, you guys lost Saquon, so that's kind of a big loss in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean Saquon, I think, I mean, and we saw it actually on the Hard Knocks episode this offseason. It basically came down to they weren't going to go to the money that Saquon
Hmm.
was asking. The bottom line is Saquon is an injury-prone running back, has had his moments here and there, but nothing to that has like I would say wow consistently. And the fact of the matter was that they had other needs to address, the offensive line specifically. I mean, you heard them say, like, we need to fix the offensive line. We need to get a weapon for Daniel Jones to throw to if we're going to have a chance here. Um, Bringing in Malik Neighbors, obviously,
Hmm.
at number 6. Um, I think, in my opinion, the way I see the season is it's a make or break year for Daniel Jones. Um, I don't see this being a make or break for Shane or Dable, just because first of all, they still have a playoff appearance, but besides that, Jones wasn't their guy. It wasn't their
Hmm.
draft. It was a Gettleman pick. And in my opinion, from what I saw on the Hard Knocks, I mean, Dable, when they spoke about Jaden Daniels, I mean, without a doubt, I don't even think there was like a second to breathe. Dable said, "Oh yeah, I would take him to trade up in a second."
And they should have, honestly. I mean, he's hopefully going to flourish in Washington with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, obviously the new OC. But I feel like you guys should move on from Daniel Jones. And I don't know if he just got the crap end of the stick the past 5, 6 years he's been in the league, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, he just hasn't looked the part.
Well, he's the other problem with him is he's injury prone. I
Hmm.
think he's fixed this up a little bit, but he's had some fumble problems, awareness issues with that. But I think the other thing is why they held on to him at the end of the day is, I mean, we also saw on Hard Knocks, obviously, that Mara was very hesitant to give up the farm and future for that. But what I would say is I just don't think that with them having an out after this season anyway on the contract, I think the thought process was just, look, let's see what we got, give him one more shot, and if it doesn't work, we'll move on. And the other thing I will say about the contract too, for as much money as they gave him, I mean, if you're looking at the contracts that are given out to Tua right now and what
Crazy.
Prescott's probably going to get,
Jordan
I mean,
Love.
Love just got this is like it's nothing. Um, but that's my thought process. I think they just said, give him one more year. We can get out of this after this year, and then we'll move on. Um, because he was injured last year. See, if we gave him a weapon. He didn't have a true number one receiver. I think this year they're banking on obviously Neighbors being the number one guy, and we'll see what he can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, do you expect you guys to at least win 6 to 7 games? 8 maybe? Like, I mean, is that too high? Am I reaching for the moon though?
I don't see 8 wins. I mean, I think
Especially
I
that
think
division's tough, and you don't know how Washington, their future's uncertain right now. What's gonna
forget
happen?
Washington. I'm still expecting them to lose both games to Philadelphia and Dallas. I mean, I know that they beat Philadelphia in the last game of the season last
Didn't
year,
matter.
but Philadelphia was resting everyone at that point anyway. The bottom line, the way I see it, is they haven't won in Dallas since I would say their Super Bowl run. Um,
Wow.
I think I don't I mean that's what at least what it feels like. Uh,
Yeah.
they have I mean besides that last game of the season last year, they have always had trouble recently with Philadelphia. Um, I think you're looking at, in my opinion, you're looking at another high draft pick. That's my opinion. I mean, let's see how Daniel Jones looks, because to me the whole forget the the playoffs for a minute. My biggest question is let's just see what Daniel Jones looks like this season. Let's see if they actually have something going forward into the future. And if not, then they can readjust and make the changes come the off season again.
Could you see Brian's job in jeopardy after this year, or they're just gonna keep giving him obviously another year? Because he seems like he's a great coach. I mean, it's what his third year with you guys. He's been there since 2022, maybe 23. I could be wrong.
That sounds, yeah. So I mean, well, with Dable, like I said, I think I don't think he's on the hot seat this season. And then after this season, I think what they have to do is they have to give him a chance with one of his own guys because
I agree.
they move on from Jones and then give them a chance, in my opinion, with a quarterback that they both Shane and Dable sign off on and see if he can actually like try to fix a quarterback. Because in my opinion, I think Jones is just not fixable. I think the injuries is just too much of concern. I think he's not. He's. I don't. He'll never be like a. He'll never live up to that number 6 pick. I mean, that was. You want to go back to that? That was the biggest mistake. One of the biggest mistakes of Gettleman's career with the Giants. I mean, between that and then taking Saquon at 2, I'm a firm believer that that year they should have taken a quarterback at number 2. I mean, you can take a running back at any point
Hmm.
and it can be just as good, if not better. I mean, look at Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, I forget what round he was picked by the Saints, but I mean, he's probably a third, fourth rounder if I remember, and God knows how many years ago now. It was quite a bit, some time ago with Kamara, but I mean, Saquon, he was probably what the best running back coming out of that draft, if I remember. I mean, I don't remember who
Supposed to
else
be
was in the class.
generational.
I mean, he was electrifying. He's talented. His cuts, his moves. I mean, just the injury bug always got
Right.
him. I feel like, unfortunately, and the Giants probably said, we're not going to overpay you because you're always hurt. And if you want to test the market, go for it. I mean, I did see that little clip, I think it was on Twitter or whatever, between, like you mentioned before, between, what was it, the GM
And his agent.
and his agent, and also obviously the owner.
Because what Shane basically said was like, look, let's let you test the market. And because what we don't want to have happen is we give you an offer and then we come off as cheap because then you go somewhere else and get something higher. Let's see what the market has for you. And then
Yeah.
if it works, then it works. If not, not.
Seeing we're short on time here, last thing, win-loss record for the Giants, roughly.
I would say 4 to 6 wins. I'm not expecting that great of a season, quite honestly.
Understandable. I mean, I know you just alluded to a high draft pick, but appreciate you joining my show for sure. If you want to throw your socials out to the crowd out there, feel free, go for it.
Sure, yeah. I'll give you my Twitter or X or whatever they call it now is at Reed Becker and the number 21.
And make sure to follow him on BSJ too, Boston Sports Journal. Great content there from all, the big names and whatever interns contribute as well. So, and also the Pinstripe for Fansided? If you want to throw that out there, will you write there?
Oh yeah, so also with Fansided, this website called Empire Writes Back. It's a website through Fansided covering the four major New York sports.
Appreciate it, Reed. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.